in Aldi Shop and Go Greenwich, where they are insisting on nobody can buy anything here unless they download an app and join a digital currency regime. I've attempted to buy some strawberries and he will not accept cash. These places must be closed down, because if we don't close them down, they'll come all over England and UK and the world, and then we will not be able to have our freedom with cash.
Hello again, welcome back to another one of these. Different one today, different type of conspiracy. Gained a lot of traction recently, locally anyway. Our local Sainsbury's, well, I think it was actually a nationwide thing. Couple of weeks ago, they had a software update overnight. Always fatal. As somebody who works with IT quite a bit, that's always the worst time. And their contactless system went down, so nobody could pay by contactless. They could still pay by chip and pin, and they could still pay by cash. Now, obviously, this led a lot of people to flood the comment section underneath the article with "cash is king," and putting more credence to the ongoing conspiracy theory that we're all being digitized. All of our transactions and everything are being taken over by digital currency only. And that we're all being tracked with everything we do and everything we purchase, so that the big brother can keep an eye on us when we shop for strawberries, or when we buy some butter. The government wants to know what we're doing. Yeah, that's about as ridiculous as it sounds. But the clip I showed a second ago at the start there was Mr. Piers Corbyn, brother of the former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn. I'm going to come back to him, because he's an interesting fellow, not in a good way. But what I'm going to quickly go over is this whole concept of money being wiped out and everybody being turned into basically a number. Cash will never go. There will always be cash for varying different reasons. I've had some conversations with ChatGPT along these lines. Basically, so much infrastructure of the planet would have to be completely disbanded, and the loss of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of jobs to make us fully integrated into a 100% digital economy. Now, me personally, this Monday, it was April Fool's, it was the day the doggy video went viral. Please see my other video I did earlier this week for details with little Cooper. We popped up to London that day, went to see Back to the Future, the musical, again. Fourth time for me, second time each with the boys, but we all went all together. Great show. It's not a plug, but I can't recommend it enough. You've got to go see it. So yeah, we went up to London, went to the Imperial War Museum, 2 stops away from Embankment, so that's my local tube station. Well, my local, when I go to London it is. Had a great time. Feet aching so much by the end, because so much to see there. It's really quite morbid. Again, something else I could recommend. Luke, my eldest, absolutely in his element. Identified a T-34 tank just by looking at it without knowing it. This encyclopedic knowledge of guns, weapons, things from World War. So he was absolutely loving it. Max got a little bit bored. But anyway, Mac walked into London, got accosted by strangers, and went to see the musical again. But, as I was saying, at no point during the entire day, and I probably spent about £150, didn't use any coin. No coin, no notes, nothing. No cash physically changed hands. But all the transactions came out of my bank account. I used nothing but online banking. I'm with a certain online banking app, and everything's handled through there. Months can go by without me handling any of the cash I earned through my job, and I'm fine with that. It makes it so much easier. The only times I actually use cash, there's a Chinese restaurant about 6 houses that way, and there's the Indian restaurant around the corner. So I'm quite in between. KFC's down there as well, but they take card. They don't take cash transactions below a certain amount. Credit card transactions below a certain amount. So I think it's £5, £15, depending on where you go. Not a lot of people realise that it actually costs the retailer a small charge every single time they do a cash transaction. So if it was all nothing but small transactions, they would end up losing money over the long run, which is why they have these limits, which is fair enough. Everybody's here to make a business. Now, I found a video from this strange chap on Odyssey talking about NatWest how they had their forging the way to become all digital by reducing the amount of money you can take out at a cash point. Turns out it's gone down to about £250 or something along those lines.
Well, I read this morning that NatWest is the first of the banks to start reducing the amount of cash that you can take out from a machine. So you can go up to the machine, oh, I've got some cash, I need to pay the builders to fix my wall, or the roofers to fix that leak, and they prefer, for whatever reason, to be paid in cash. There's about 4 of them up there and they're all being paid. So I need about, I don't know, £1,000, maybe £2,000 just in cash, just to help them out. But you can only now, from the 11th of September, note that date, might ring a bell, 9/11? Yes, from then, you can only get £250 out from NatWest Bank in one day. £250. Because NatWest is the first one that is going to start us on that trajectory of a cashless society.
So it is actually unsafe for you to withdraw large amounts of money from a cash point and go walking down the high street with it in your pocket. I think incidences of people being mugged or conned out of their money at cash points, it's actually going up. So if you actually go into the branch, you can still take out a larger amount of money if you provide ID. They've limited the amount of money you can take out at a cash point. Does not mean they're moving towards a purely digital currency. They're just making it safer for people who use their bank. But still, the conspiracy is gaining traction. When you have little instances like the software going down at Sainsbury's or NatWest looking after their customers, people who always think the worst, to name but a few, will say that it's all we're all going to be digitized, this, that, and the other. And it's what's quite interesting is that this has been going on for years. I got onto the internet around the year 2000, and wasn't long after that I got into Amazon, and I think I ordered X-Men, the DVD from the States. Now, obviously, that was all a digital thing. Now, the funny thing is, if you look back on my history, that transaction is still there from nearly 20 years. Well, it must be more than 20 years ago. So websites like Amazon or Temu, Shein, people like that, of course they're going to keep a track on what you've purchased in the past. And I hate to say it, so does Tesco, Clubcard and Nectar. If you in the UK, I don't know if Walmart out in America have the same schemes. When you buy something and you use your club card, even though your card transaction, either card or cash, the club card remembers. And if you do online shopping, it remembers everything you've bought, and it recommends, oh, you bought sausage rolls in the past. Would you like to buy some more sausage rolls? You bought a 6-pack of beer. Would you like to buy some more beer? No, we really should cut down, actually. It's getting a bit bad. But tracking of purchases has been going on for years. And at its very core, it's basically to provide you a better service. If you, like I said, if you go online shopping, it reminds you of things. Oh yeah, I did actually want runner beans or something along those lines. So that's providing a better service. But as usual, people are looking at it with nefarious eyes, and they're thinking the worst. Now, this incident with Mr. Piers Corbyn, Piers Corbyn is a bit of an odd one. He's a rabid anti-vaxxer who's been arrested several times for attended several anti-lockdown protests during the lockdown. You're just asking for trouble. I think he broke into a hospital. He stormed into a hospital, got onto a ward and started protesting there. Called NHS nurses murderers. And he quite recently said that Israel let Hamas in to Israel and then let them out again as an excuse for Israel invading Palestine as a retaliation and going after the oil.
Do you think Hamas will hand over the hostages?
Well, I don't know. You see, Hamas and Israel funds Hamas, you understand that? Israel let these Hamas so-called troops in. They allowed the hostages to be taken. The whole thing is a game to justify the flattening and genocide of Gaza. There's oil under there.
Yeah.
The Israelis want it, the Americans want it.
Yeah, that's the kind of person he is. I'll get back onto that in a second as well. One thing he did do, actually, was he accepted what he thought was a bribe of £10,000 from two YouTube chaps. I will show you the clip in a second. where he was obviously a very vocal opponent to the COVID vaccine. But there was like three. There was Moderna, Oxford AstraZeneca, and another one, I've got Pfizer. And these guys basically paid him £10,000 not to protest AstraZeneca.
I mean, I suppose going forward, it's just that sort of focus on leaving AstraZeneca out of it wherever possible. We appreciate that's not...
We can't have a full policy change, but
No.
we'll focus on Pfizer and Moderna and...
Well, it'll happen anyway, but without any interference, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
Brilliant.
I think that'll be fair. Where's that money gone, by the way?
Oh, I've got it.
Okay.
Don't worry. Keeping it safe.
So apparently the idea that anti-vaxxers will focus on Pfizer and Moderna will now happen anyway, which obviously has nothing to do with our donation. It was time for a quick selfie and a transfer of cold, hard monopoly money. Whether people choose to get a vaccine or not is entirely their business.
Now, as it turns out, that brown envelope, nondescript, stodgy-looking envelope, was actually full of monopoly money. But it just shows you the kind of character that this person actually has. That he will sell his soul for £10,000 and then, you know, be exposed for the person he is. But the big incident I'm talking about, obviously, is the one which was at a store in Greenwich, in London again. Now, what's quite humorous about this is that the shop is an app only. You download an app onto your phone, you log in when you get into the shop, you walk around, you do your shopping, and then you're charged when you leave. It's all very technical, all a little bit confusing. I don't know how it works because I've had no experience with these things myself. However, on approaching the shop, all of this is laid clear. You have to have the app. You won't be spending any physical coinage or money, and everything will be done remotely after the fact. Now, Mr. Piers has gone into the shop, and he's made his silly little protest about putting cash on the counter and walking out with his packet of strawberries. Here's the video.
A new dystopian store where you're going to be tracked and apt to buy anything. I'm going to buy some strawberries and I'm offering exactly the right amount of money here on the help desk. So you people take that money, £1.90, and I will take my strawberries outside. If you want to call the police,
You can't take
call
that.
the
Police is on their way. You can't take that. Police is on their way. You can't take that.
I paid by legal tender.
No. Don't break the door. Do not break the door.
I paid by legal tender and I am going out with my strawberries. And I'm going to eat them. I'm going to eat my strawberries. I paid by legal tender in this dystopian place.
Now, in every sense of the word, he just stole those strawberries. That shop was not set up or equipped to handle cash transactions. It is a completely different bracket. I've worked in retail for quite some time. Where I'm working now, I've been there 21 years. Before that, I worked in a hotel for 5.5 years, handling large amounts of cash. I don't do it so much these days because where I work now, a lot of it is done on account, so that's all fine. But we still do take some cash transactions, and that has to be banked, it has to be counted, it has to be equated for, it has to go on a separate ledger, and it has to be collected. This shop in Greenwich can't do any of that. They are not set up for it. You can't just hand over cash and expect to walk out if they have no way legally of processing that transaction. So, to quote Homer Simpson's mind,
money can be exchanged for goods and services.
Woohoo!
So it doesn't matter that he put down the right change. It doesn't matter that he's handed over the cash. They can't accept that cash. They just can't. They are not set up for it. There's no system in their system of taking their transactions where they can accept cash. And so he has illegally taken those strawberries out of the shop, and he could very well be arrested. And what's even more annoying is that I know that row of shops. If you look to the left, and it's actually shown in the video, there's a Sainsbury's local literally 4 or 5 shops away to the left. If he wanted strawberries that badly, he could have gone there to buy them. He was just making a silly little point in the wrong shop, and the only people who really got inconvenienced were the poor guys in the shop who were just trying to do their jobs and having to put up with this insufferable goit.
Oh, for crying out. You know what your problem is, huh? You're so goddamn bored you gotta invent things to bitch about. You haven't got a single thing on this earth to do except for your hair.
So in conclusion, yeah, it's more convenient to do everything digitally, and like I say, I can go months without handling any of the cash I've earned. It's all on my phone, and for me, that's just so convenient. Unless I want a Chinese when I actually have to get some actual money out. We're not going to be going completely cashless, because one thing, it will be too complicated to do. Too many people would be losing their jobs. You know, everything would be digital. Yes, there are online banking apps like I think Starling and Revolut and places like that where they don't deal in physical currency. I have a cash card, I can go to a cash point and get some money out if I need to, if I want to, if I fancy a Chinese. But there will always be cash, because far too many people deal with physical currency on a daily basis, and they know that's cash in hand, labourers, workers, things like that. So many little nuances, you know, it's little things that would have to be abolished and eradicated for us to be a completely cashless society. And as I said before, if you think that a credit card transaction is the only thing that's tracking you right now, I've got some really bad news for you about your phone. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Slightly different topic on that one, but this video kept on popping up on my feeds, and it just aggravates me. And if you look into him a little bit more than not at all, you can see what kind of a person he actually is, and how seriously you should take his word. Okay, that's it. Thanks very much for watching. I will see you next time. Nothing on the horizon. Might get back to some flat earthers. You never know. See you later. Bye bye.